the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And joining us now here on Locked On Buckeyes, like I mentioned at the top of the show, we're going to start something new today on Friday to kind of go around the NFL with other hosts that are show hosts for Locked On Podcast Network to see what different players in the NFL are doing and what Buckeye fans can expect for former Buckeye players that are now doing their thing in the National Football League. Today is the day we're going to kick it off with my guy, Ross Jackson, the host of Locked On Saints. Ross, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm honored, and it's an absolute pleasure to be the first guy with your Buckeye road trip here. I don't know that you had a more obvious choice about which NFL team to start with, though.
I mean, you're right. We talked about Pete Werner earlier in the NFL draft. All of a sudden, you guys pick up Nick Vannett. We'll talk about him later on in the offseason in March. So it's just Buckeye Central from Columbus down to the Bayou. I love it. Not Vannett first, but going with the offensive player that many Buckeye fans have loved, Michael Thomas. Got hurt last year, got suspended last year, got put on the IR, and still came back to play in the playoffs. Are there any injury concerns for Michael Thomas going into the season?
Yeah, really, really down season for Michael Thomas last year. 40 catches, 438 yards, no touchdowns in the regular season. He did score a touchdown in the postseason. Shut himself down at one point in the season, actually, with those 3 games left because of the NFL's lax IR rules with the season the way that it was last year. He kind of said, you know what? We're in the playoffs. I'm not doing great right now. I want to shut myself down, take 3 weeks, get ready to try to send Drew Brees off with a ring. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him, but he did get surgery this offseason to repair a deltoid as well as several other ligament tears. He had that high ankle sprain earlier on in the season. According to head coach Sean Payton, he's on track. He's been with the team. He's been working. He's looking good. So things are looking good so far as he works to get back from those injuries.
That's an amazing sign, amazing thing to hear, because last year I know many people, many fans were very upset when they found out Michael Thomas got hurt. And I know those high ankle sprains, they can be tricky. They can be lingering. And hearing those words from you, Ross, make me very happy that we might see Michael Thomas, the record-setting wide receiver, in 2021.
Yeah, that's the hope, right? You add a 17th game, and all of a sudden another 149 catch season isn't really that far-fetched.
Not at all
anymore. But yeah, I mean, I think you could expect to see his targets come down. But look, the New Orleans Saints have three-digit catch seasons in their entire franchise history. All 3 of those seasons belong to Michael Thomas. I have no doubt that he'll have a 4th 100 catch season if he can remain healthy over the course of the 2021 year.
New quarterback, Winston or Hill. I don't know exactly which route the Saints are going. Not the conversation right now, but one of those 2 guys will need to rely heavily on Michael Thomas. How do you think the relationship between whoever the starting quarterback is or will be is right now with Michael Thomas, the star wide receiver?
I think that no matter what, Michael Thomas is somebody that goes out there and looks like Michael Thomas. He's not going to really downgrade just because Drew Brees isn't there. I mean, look, Drew Brees being the most accurate quarterback of all time, yes, that absolutely helps any receiver, but not just specifically Michael Thomas, like some folks would have you think. You look at the fact that he played 5 games with Teddy Bridgewater, averaged over 110 yards and over 8 catches per game during those 5 games with Teddy Bridgewater. Just want to make sure I say that again. And then you also look at the 4 games with Taysom Hill, which included a game where the opposition, the Denver Broncos, started Kendall Hinton, their practice squad wide receiver, as an emergency quarterback. In that game, Taysom Hill threw for less than 100 yards, but it was only 78 passing yards in that game for Taysom Hill because they ain't have to pass the ball. And Michael Thomas still walked away in that matchup or in those 4 games with over 80 yards receiving receiving in each one of those, including 2 100-yard games against the rival Atlanta Falcons, and was targeted 37 times by Taysom Hill. And of course, you have a Jameis Winston who before the 2019 season targeted outside wide receivers 43.1% of the time, which was second in the NFL since 2009, despite the fact that Jameis Winston had only been in the league for 4 years at that point. So no matter what, Michael Thomas is going to get his attention.
He will get his attention. And I do know how opposing defenses are with these different cornerbacks. They're going to try to do things to get under his skin. And if there's someone like me, you look at the Wikipedia. You don't have to go very far, Ross, to find out what happened last year. A little incident. Some might say a kerfuffle. I don't use that word, but somebody listening might
very
use
few
that
would
phrase.
say a kerfuffle. That's right.
Very true. Where there was a little incident in the practice where Michael Thomas punched a player on the team. First time I had heard about this player was when I was looking up stuff for this year conversation with you. I said, who is a player? Oh, there's a fine. This is what happens. And I know how cornerbacks are. They think they're better than anybody else on the team, think they're that guy on the island. And that might be used against Michael Thomas during the season to say, hey, man, look, I saw what you did last year during practice. I'm going to remind you of that and so many other things you may have forgot about in your life because I'm trying to get under your skin during this game. Ross, how do you think opposing defenses, corners, will come at Michael Thomas, knowing he's coming off an injury season, but also knowing last year he did get fined for punching a teammate?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they'll remind him of it every chance that they get, but we also have to give C.J. Gardner-Johnson a lot of credit because C.J. Gardner-Johnson also got 2 players in action, including a Chicago Bears player in the playoffs to throw a punch at him as well as Michael Thomas in practice. So just as much as it was Michael Thomas being somebody that actually ended up throwing a punch, C.J. Gardner-Johnson just is special when it comes to the trash talk. So I don't know that anybody in the league is going to be able to do what C.J. Gardner-Johnson did to Michael Thomas to get him to the point of throwing a punch in practice, considering Gardner-Johnson also got somebody to throw a punch and get ejected in a playoff game, which to me is still just absolutely insane.
Absolutely. Last but not least, Ross, if you could just give your quick expectation, almost said expectations for Michael Thomas for the season and what you think Buckeye fans can expect from him.
Yeah, I think you'll see a bit of a tick down from that 149 reception season. I think that's understandable to expect. I think you'll find him somewhere in between his 2017 and 2018 production. 2018, he had 125 catches. I would see him somewhere in the 110s here in 2021, but I would expect his yardage as well as his potentially his touchdown numbers to go up here in 2021 if he plays a healthy season, because you'll see a little bit more of 2 quarterbacks here that can unlock a bit more of what he can do in the intermediate and deep areas of the field, and that are going to rely on him in the red zone toward the back of the end zone more than you saw with the Drew Brees offense, which was very much at the pylon in the front of the end zone in terms of attacking in those situations. So look for him, if he's healthy, to remain over 100 catches, remain over 1,200 yards, and finally get above that double digit, that 10 touchdown mark, which he's yet to hit so far in his career.
Ross, my man, this has been fun. We're going to do some more talking with you about former Buckeyes that are now in New Orleans. But if you could let everyone know where they can catch you on Twitter and also the numerous ways they can enjoy Locked On Saints on a regular basis.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can follow me on Twitter at Ross Jackson Nola, Nola, to keep up with all of my Saints chatter, as well as all the rest of the ridiculousness that I put out on Twitter. Always having fun over there. And of course, if you want to catch Locked On Saints, you can find it wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's Apple, iTunes, Spotify, the Odyssey app, wherever that might be. You can also find us on YouTube as well. Just search Locked On Saints.
My guy, Ross Jackson, thank you so much for coming on, kicking off the road trip, as you mentioned, around the NFL, talking about Buckeyes and what we can expect from them in the National Football League this season. Thank you so much.
Hey, absolutely. I'll see you again soon.